Number 1, what is your name?
My name is Fred Stern, and I can make a rainbow.
Number 2, what is your name?
My name is Fred Stern, and I can make a rainbow.
Number 3, what is your name?
My name is Fred Stern, and I can make a rainbow.
Only one is the real Fred Stern, and has sworn to tell the truth.
Yes, oh, sure. They claim they can make a rainbow, but I claim I can make a commercial break. We'll be right back. We're going to find out which one is the real Fred Stern and what his story is right here. All right. Welcome back to Tell the Truth. Panel and audience, you know the way the game is played. Our three gentlemen here all claim to be the real Fred Stern. Two are lying, and only one has signed a statement swearing to tell the truth. So please open up the affidavit you have in front of you, which you're now seeing for the first time, and follow along with me as I read the sworn testimony of the real Fred Stern. I, Fred Stern, create rainbows. As a recognized innovator in environmental art, I create natural rainbows and moonbows in the sky as large as a quarter-mile across. My multicolored works have graced the skylines of cities worldwide for events in support of world peace and children's well-being. While you may not find a pot of gold at the end of my rainbows, you will certainly see the world differently. Signed, Fred Stern. All right, panel and audience, our three gentlemen here all claim to be the real rainbow maker. Which one is it? Well, perhaps Meshack Taylor will find out why there are so many songs about rainbows and what's on the other side.
Thank you, John. Number 1, how are rainbows formed?
By the angle of the sun and the mist of the water.
Okay. Number 2, how do you form rainbows?
I pump water into the sky using fire equipment, which refracts the sun's rays.
Okay, and number 3, well, how large are the lights that you use in order to make the rainbow? Do you use any lights at all, artificial lights?
Sunlight.
Just sunlight?
Yes.
Okay. Number 1, what is the environmental artist's name who puts flags and all sorts of interesting things all over the landscape?
I have no idea. All I use is the planet's flag, the rainbow.
Number 2, do you know the artist I'm speaking of?
Christo.
Yes. And number 3, are you the first person who's actually used rainbows like this in this way? Whenever you want one, you can get one.
I believe that's true, yes.
You are the first one?
Yes.
All right, on the list, Torres.
Number 1, can you make a rainbow at night?
If the moon is in the correct position, yes, absolutely.
Blah. Number 2, what city are you from?
I live in Las Cruces, New Mexico.
Number 3, where do you keep your boat? Do you own your boat?
I do not have a boat.
Oh, but you use a boat to do the rainbow?
Well, we have used fireboats to do rainbows, yes.
I see. Number 1, do you need a city permit to do all that?
Takes quite a few permits, yes.
I can just see that application down at City Hall, can't you? You want to do what? Okay, all right. Christoph, on to you.
Number 2, what international cities have you created rainbows in or for?
I created one in northern Israel. I created one in Gaza, Amsterdam, Rio de Janeiro.
Okay. Number 3, how do you document your work? On film?
No, it's documented by people viewing the rainbow that I create.
Number 1, do you keep a documentation of all the rainbows and moonbows that you've created?
Oh, sure. It helps me promote my projects.
I see. Number 2, do you get paid for this art?
Yes, sometimes.
Uh-huh.
All right. Very good question. On to Brooke Burns.
Number 1, who taught you to do this? Or did you teach yourself?
Basically taught myself. Grew up in Hawaii, the Rainbow State, and it just seemed like the natural thing to do.
Number 2, have you ever created double or triple rainbows?
Double.
Double. I see. Number 3, where's the last rainbow that you created? In what city?
I did it a couple of years ago at the UN for UNICEF using fireboats.
Number 1, you grew up in Hawaii. Have you ever done double or triple rainbows?
I haven't been successful making a double rainbow, but I've seen quite a few.
And
All right. Interesting line of questioning. The bell has sounded, time is up, and it's time now for our studio audience and our celebrity panel to lock in their votes without discussion. Is it number 1, number 2, or number 3? And I'd like you at home to stick around because we're going to be right back to find out how everybody voted and who the real rainbow maker is right here on To Tell the Truth. All right. Welcome back to Tell the Truth. Which one of our challengers is the real Fred Stern, a professional rainbow maker? We'll begin our voting with Meshack Taylor. Sir, your number.
Thank you, John. Well, this is such an incredible story because it's so new age and it's so, you know, it has a real 60s feel to it as well. So, I'm a veteran of the 60s. And I do remember some of them.
You just remember the alternate years, don't you?
Yeah, every other year in the 60s I do remember very clearly. Number 1, I liked him at first, but then I looked at number 2 and he's got this Rod McEwen thing happening. And I expected him to just break into verse about rainbows at any moment. So I had to go for number 2.
All right. Liz Torres?
Well, number 3, I think, would be the perfect candidate because you seem like an accountant type, but then, of course, you would be working with the opposite. And number 1, when they had the boat up there, it had 3 rainbows and a real rainbow going through it, and you said that you only had done double rainbows, so I voted for number 2.
All right. Christophe St. John.
Yeah, number 3, he kind of faltered when he talked about the boats. Number 1, I thought that you gave a little bit of information when unasked for, such as the Hawaiian experience. And number 2 knew an awful lot about rainbows, so.
Okay. Brooke Burns.
I beg to differ with the panel.
Always the alternative thinker.
Okay.
I happen to live in Hawaii for a time in my life, and they are the most beautiful rainbows that you've ever seen, and somebody who's lived there would want to be able to create that over and over again.
All right, so number 1. All right. The votes are in. Let's see how our audience voted. Oh, okay. Rod McEwen gets the vote. All right. Brooke is the only dissenter among everyone here. It is time now to find out which one of our players is the real rainbow maker. Will a real Fred Stern please stand up? Oh. Look at that. Look at that. Overwhelming audience reaction. Okay. All right. Thank you for having us. See, Fred will come back to you in just a minute. Let's meet our team of imposters. Number 1, are you from the state of Hawaii, sir?
No, just stationed out there previously. My name is Gary Hamm. I'm retired Navy Special Operations and I teach skydiving on the weekends.
Oh, great. Nice to have you with us. And number 3, I kind of thought it was you, and I thought just for the exact same principle, you were trying to fool us with the accountant look. Who are you and what do you do?
My name is Terry Smolev. I'm a tax attorney from New York.
I can just sniff them out. Thank you both for being with us.
By the way, I knew it was number 2. I just wanted them to win some money.
Thank you.
It doesn't work that way, of course. Hey, this is really a one-of-a-kind thing. I'm fairly fascinated by this. Now, this is done purely for, you use it for fundraising, and you also use it as kind of environmental art as well.
Yeah, I do it in support of world peace and global unity. I see the rainbow as the planet's flag. If the planet were going to have a flag, it wouldn't be made of cloth. And several years ago, I put one over the United Nations building for National Japanese Television as a visual metaphor for world peace.
Well, good for you. Now, what a wonderful story. Thank you for being with us. We have a single incorrect vote, so $1,000 is going to be split among the 3 of you. Thank you so much for being with us, and it brings us to the end of another show. Meshack Taylor, Liz Torres, Christophe St. John, Brooke Burns, I say goodbye. John O'Hurley saying next time, right here on To Tell the Truth.